In the top stories, Education Minister speaks on professional teaching force at UN conference. Virtual court hearing arrangements announced in Grenada, and China agreed to abide by Taiwan agreement. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today's Wednesday, October 6, 2021. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey. Nationally, Minister of Education, Youth, Sport and Culture Honorable John L. Powell addressed a UNESCO panel highlighting the professionalization of the teaching force on the occasion of World Teachers' Day on Tuesday. Minister Powell focused on the impact of COVID-19 on teaching and what this experience has revealed to education policymakers in terms of future policies. Because of the pandemic, different modes of technology employed in teaching have yielded mixed results.
Well, Caribbean governments like that in St. Kitts and Nevis have introduced a wide range of online learning modalities. Many children in our sub-region, notably children from poor and rural households, are not always able to access such facilities. Owing to inequitable access to internet to enable online learning, coupled with the lack of development opportunities in online teaching for teachers, many children have lost almost a year of formal instruction.
Acknowledging the technical assistance of UNESCO to the Federation, he reported that the government has embarked on the fundamental scaling up in the professionalization of our teaching force to address the pre-existing and new challenges provoked by the pandemic.
We are poised to establish a national teaching council to regulate the teaching profession in St. Kitts and Nevis in accordance with international best practices. This will include professional registration of teachers, control of standards, and an enforcement of a code of professional conduct. In time, this framework will put in place professional licensing and registration as a quality assurance measure linked to teacher appraisal. Recruitment policies will also have to be reviewed.
The World Teachers' Day event was collectively hosted by UNESCO, International Labour Organization and UNICEF under the theme Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. There were 305 attendees from 193 UN member states. In the past year and a half, St. Kitts and Nevis has secured UNESCO's technical assistance and funding to develop a modernized accreditation system and process covering high-level qualifications. These projects are being overseen by the St. Kitts and Nevis National Commission for UNESCO in Basseterre, under its Secretary General, Ms. Dorothy Warner. A juvenile is in custody assisting with the investigation into an incident in which Kishan Richin of Newtown was fatally shot. An autopsy was performed on the body of 34-year-old Richin on September 29, 2021 by resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunes. Dr. Nunes concluded that death was a result of severe head injury due to a single gunshot wound to the head. According to a police statement, close to 8 p.m. on Thursday, September 23rd, police officers responded to a report of a shooting incident in Newtown. Upon arrival, the motionless body of 34-year-old Kishan Richin of Newtown was found lying in Agatha Johnson Lane. The police say Richin and another individual were walking along the lane when a masked gunman ran up behind them and shot him. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. Disaster preparedness will be the topic of discussion on Working for You later today. The panel will include officials from the Damage Assessment and Need Analysis Subcommittee member Livingston Pemberton and Public Relations Officer at the National Emergency Management Agency, Michelle Rodriguez. Working for You airs every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. on ZIZ Radio and other participating radio stations. It is also streamed live on the YouTube channels and Facebook pages of ZIZ and SKNIS. In regional news, in Grenada, new arrangements to guide the procedures at the Magistrates Court was announced on Tuesday. More in this GBN News report.
Virtual hearings will now become a part of the new norm in magistrates' courts in all districts in Grenada. The Magistracy Remote Hearings Rules 2021 will soon be launched by the government of Grenada to handle the high volume of daily cases as citizens seek justice in person within the judicial system. When the magistracy resumes, court hearings may be either virtual or physical. Attorney General Dia Forrester says the virtual hearings will reduce physical interactions as the country is amid a pandemic.
Consequently, the soon-to-be introduced magistracy remote hearing rules shall facilitate remote court hearings of magistrate court matters as deemed appropriate by the adjudicating magistrate. It will apply to all types of matters before the magistrate's courts, including civil, criminal, traffic, and family proceedings.
Forrester says gone will be the need for the influx of people at magistrates' courts, as the virtual hearings will apply the same principles as a face-to-face hearing.
The primary media via which remote hearings will be conducted would include video conferencing platforms like Zoom platform, the Teams platform. It may be by telephone conference or such other media as may be indicated on the court summons. Individuals will continue to be served with a summons to attend court, and that summons will have notes accompanying it, giving details as to what to do to be able to participate in a remote hearing.
The Attorney General notes the district magistrate courts have been retrofitted with the necessary equipment to facilitate remote or virtual hearings.
The government is particularly mindful that at the magistrates court level, numerous individuals are self-represented. Being conscious of that fact, provisions will be made for self-represented litigants to attend the magistrates court, where facilities are in place for them to participate in a virtual hearing.
Other changes have also been made to enhance the safety of individuals attending the court to reduce exposure to COVID-19. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
A 13-year-old boy died hours after he took his second dose of the Pfizer vaccine in Guyana on Monday. More in this HGP news report.
14-year-old Joshua Henry was a healthy boy according to his mother. He loved running long distances and enjoyed a good game of cricket. But there was nothing the young lad loved more than school. Like thousands of other students, especially those in Camwater, Morocco Region 1 where he hails from, Henry grew tired of being out of school for so long. So, when the Santa Rosa Secondary School student heard the news that vaccination could ensure his return to the classroom, he was among the first in line to access the Pfizer jab.
The mommy, because they want everybody must take the vaccine. He said he's going to take it because he loves school. He loves school.
But tragedy struck on Monday when Joshua Henry went to take his second dose 3 weeks after receiving his first. According to his mother, Nisha Henry, her son was accompanied by his older cousin to receive his final dose a stone's throw away from their home around 2 p.m. 2 hours later, as he was preparing to play a game of cricket with his brother, the lad collapsed.
No, he collected the bat and the ball, and while they were walking, he fell. He fell. My son fell down and then he fell down. Right away when he fell down, my son didn't black out or nothing. It was like a dead fall, he fell.
He was rushed to the Kamaka Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival. Nisha Henry said everything unfolded right before her eyes. Still overcome with grief and pain, the mother of 5 said she is still in great shock and disbelief. Henry maintained that Joshua was healthy and had no known underlying health conditions. However, she stated that when the lad was 6 years old, he complained of mild pain in the chest for which he was treated by a doctor. The issue, she said, never surfaced again. During the daily COVID update on Tuesday, Health Minister Frank Anthony said a team was on the ground to conduct a post-mortem to determine the youth's cause of death. Minister Anthony maintained that vaccines are safe, but reminded that side effects are common.
Very, very, very rare cases. Some people might experience what is called anaphylactic shock. And that's like one person in maybe more than 1 million that can experience anaphylactic shock.
The Pfizer vaccine was authorized for use by the United States of America's Food and Drug Administration and can be administered to adolescents between the ages of 12 to 17.
Internationally, U.S. President Joe Biden said that he has spoken to Chinese President Xi Jinping about Taiwan, and they agreed to abide by the Taiwan Agreement, as tensions have increased between Taipei and Beijing. More in this Reuters report.
As tensions mount between China and Taiwan, US President Joe Biden has spoken on the phone to Chinese President Xi Jinping. Biden told reporters on Tuesday that both leaders had agreed to keep to the Taiwan Agreement, an apparent reference to Washington's policy of recognizing Beijing rather than Taipei, on the expectation that the future of Taiwan will be determined by peaceful means.
I've spoken with Xi about Taiwan. We agree we'll abide by the Taiwan Agreement. That's where we are, and we made it clear that I don't think he should be doing anything other than abiding by the agreement.
China claims Taiwan as its own territory and has not ruled out the possible use of force to achieve unification. The island, which broke away from the mainland in 1949, rejects Beijing's claims and has its own democratically elected government. Over a 4-day period beginning last Friday, Taiwan reported close to 150 Chinese Air Force aircraft entered its air defense zone. The show of force from Beijing has been condemned by Washington and Taipei. Taiwan's defense minister said on Wednesday China will be capable of mounting a full-scale invasion by 2025, adding that relations were at their worst level in more than 40 years.
Founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, is hitting back at claims of a former employee, saying that the claims were illogical. In a letter to staff, he pointed towards Facebook's efforts to fight harmful content. The former employee told U.S. politicians that the social media company harms children's mental health and stoke division in society. More in this BBC News report.
Oh, it's raining.
Eleanor and Freya are both 14, and like many teenagers, they're both on Instagram.
As a teenager, you're looking at these people, like all these models and, influencers. They all are very, very skinny and they have like a perfect body. And when you're looking at that and then kind of comparing yourself to it, it's like I think it could be really damaging.
When you're like feeling at your worst and then you go on Instagram and you see things that are like targeted at you because you've looked at these kinds of things before, you see them like models, influencers, celebrities, things like that, and you're just like, oh, well, I'll never be like that.
Eleanor and Freya's concerns are in fact shared by one rather important company, Facebook, which owns Instagram. In fact, leaked internal research found that teens who struggle with mental health say that Instagram makes it worse. The woman who leaked that report is called Frances Haugen, and she gave evidence in Washington.
The documents I have provided to Congress prove that Facebook has repeatedly misled the public about what its own research reveals about the safety of children.
She also said that Facebook's motives were driven by money rather than the mental health of its users.
I saw Facebook repeatedly encounter conflicts between its own profits and our safety. Facebook consistently resolved these conflicts in favor of its own profits.
Here in Silicon Valley, Facebook has pushed back, saying that some of the research presented is misleading. And despite the fact that Instagram concluded that it could be damaging for children's mental health, it also says that it can have a positive impact. Reacting to Haugen's evidence was Facebook's president of content policy, Monica Bickert.
And again, anytime a single teen is having a bad experience, that's too much. One thing that shows that we are prioritizing safety above profit is the very fact that we're asking these hard questions.
Facebook has said it's postponed a controversial project to create Instagram for kids. But we now know that some very important politicians in Washington believe the company has put profit over the mental health of teenage girls. James Clayson, BBC News, San Francisco.
And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy with a slight dust haze. Winds are a moderate breeze of 13 miles per hour from the east-northeast. Seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis today will be partly sunny with a 20% or a slight chance of showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 40% or a moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 5:56 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow at 6:02 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your presenter, Shanique Harvey.